This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 122.
Another Outlaw episode
of Skywalking Through Neverland.
So, did you create the monkey walk?
And I think Jim Henson recognized that quality in me.
Did Miss Piggy ever throw temper tantrums on the set of the Muppet movie?
All I can say is it better be going on during Star Wars Celebration Orlando next year.
Just call it Star Wars Land and be done with it. I think kids right now are replacing Anna and Elsa with Rey.
Do you want to build an at?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hello, Skywalkers.
Listen.
Up to Neverland.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Wow. Oh,
You are skywalking through Neverland.
Hey, Skywalkers! Thank you for joining us on Skywalking Through Neverland. And welcome to our family of Skywalkers out there who are joining us for your first time or your 122nd time. This is our adventure through fandom. I am Richard, and now please, everyone, say hello to my sweetie wife, Sarah, who is still in her pajamas.
That's right, because it's my house and I can be in my pajamas if I want to, right?
Exactly.
Even in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. All right, well, hello, Star Wars and Disney fans. Thank you so much for supporting this show throughout all of social media, because that makes you officially a Skywalker. When you tweet at us at SkywalkingPod, that is like our favorite thing ever. And we love when you tweet at us during the show. You're a tweet walker. And of course, a Periscope walker too.
Or
hi.
known as...
Oh, yes?
The Scope Walkers.
The Scope Walkers. Say hi, Scope Walkers.
I rehearsed that because last time I messed it up.
See, go Mouse Scouts on Periscope. I'm still rocking my PJs, day off from work. Awesome.
Right. Hey, I'm
Woo.
not. Most days I don't get out of my pajamas until about 10 p.m.
I know. So Obi Roth Kenobi. Hi.
I'm
hey,
not
Randy
judging.
Crane.
All right, now we are recording this from Long Beach, California on May 30th, 2016. Now, coming up on this episode, we speak with someone who has helped me shape the person I am today.
What?
We talk with Muppet movie and Monkees TV show director, Mr. James Frawley. Ha!
He's so excited, you guys.
I was so excited. We talked to him this morning, and I just had questions in my head I've had in there for over 40 years. And luckily, they just came all spilling out. First time we talked with Mr. Frawley on the phone last week for a little pre-interview.
Mm-hmm.
We said about 15, 20 minutes. We were on the phone for about 35, 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he doesn't really do long interviews, but he did it with us.
Aww.
Oh, so happy.
It was so cool. All right. Also on this episode, May 27th, the new Frozen Live at the Hyperion show premiered at DCA, and we were there with friends, and afterwards we recorded a review roundtable. Now, because we're us, it wasn't just any recording, it became another Outlaw Podcast recording. So we'll give you the scoop on that right before we go into our Frozen live review.
Disney security will never keep us down. Full story later on in just a few minutes, really.
Yeah.
And just when you thought that was plenty of show for 1 week, we talk with Jeannie Gallo from theprincesspapers.com, who tells us all about the new Star Wars A Galactic Spectacular fireworks show at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Now, this debuts June 17th, so just around the corner.
Yeah, and Jeannie went to a press event over there at Walt Disney World and was able to speak one-on-one with the show director there. So there's some inside scoops.
We had a little bit of a sneak preview last week from Mark Daniel, but now we get the full story.
Yeah. All right, and as usual, we have our shout-outs and our Skywalker of the Week. And of course...
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
Now, last weekend, which was May 28th through the 29th, It was Star Wars Reads Day at the Rancho Cucamonga Library right over there in San Bernardino, and this was a huge, huge event.
Yeah, it gets bigger every year. Apparently, this was their 9th year. The first year we actually went, and instead of one day, it spanned 2 days. It was almost like a mini celebration convention.
Yeah, normally they have it in just the library, but it got so big this year that it spread throughout the whole city block.
Yeah, well, it's not at a. It's at a, what do you call
Victoria Gardens,
Yeah.
which is like
It's an open-air mall.
Right, yeah.
That's what it is,
Not a strip mall, but yeah. Open-air mall, is that what it's called?
I think, outdoor mall, basically.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
And the streets were just aligned with Star Wars arts and crafts. They had sellers out there. They had Obi-Wan was there with his A-Wing fighter. Not his A-Wing, his Z-Wing fighter.
Yeah, they had Star Wars cars all lined up. I think there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
And they had the 501st, of course, the Rebel Legion.
They had photo op moments, so it really was like a Star Wars weekend or Star Wars celebration.
Yeah, they even had little talks going on each hour on the hour 2 at various places.
Yeah, they had the main stage, which is where some of the I don't want to say bigger.
No, they were just events that couldn't really be.
Yeah, it was just one of the stages. I don't want to say it was the main stage.
Well,
and then there was a couple of stages inside the library, one of which was the meeting place for Randy Martinez.
Yeah.
He had an art class, which was so much fun. Kids had a lot of fun drawing Yoda and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was amazing. And Michael Kogi also spoke.
He was there doing a lecture on his books and being a Star Wars author. They had panels on collecting, so yeah, it was like celebration Cucamonga style.
Yeah, there's even Star Force Band.
Star Force Band, and little did I know, a good friend of mine fronts that band.
Yeah, he's the lead singer. He's the Han Solo.
Well, he always told me he was in a Star Wars band, but I'm not sure he ever told me the name.
No, he didn't. Yeah.
So I walk around the corner and like, hey, is that Andrew up there?
Yeah.
And that was Andrew up there. A great Star Wars cover band.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Really neat.
And then we had the outdoor stage, which was the the hub stage.
Yeah, at 1 p.m. we had our Star Wars trivia game spectacular.
Orama.
Yes.
And it was really fun because we did a lot of the games that we played at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim. We played those games, but we played new games. We gave away prizes. It was just so much fun having the kids come up and do their Wookiee impressions and their BB-8 impressions.
Yeah.
We met a lot of Skywalkers there, too.
We did. In fact, I was excited because we went, this is kind of a different area for us. It's about an hour away from where we live. So there was new Skywalkers and new families coming up to meet us. So it was exciting. Like, 3 families came up and said they all listened to us, and especially the kids were Skywalkers. So that was really cool. And I was excited to meet Jen Marie for the first time. She is at Across the Stars on Twitter. She's also a blogger for 15 years at AnakinandHisAngel.com. So you may have heard of her. It was super exciting to meet her. And then, of course, we met up with our friends from Mousepire, Anthony Fox, his co-host Diggs, and his girlfriend, Bekah. So that was super cool to see them.
Yeah, they were really instrumental in being our helpers up on the stage. Because it's kind of a stage where you just can't do it alone. You need a lot of helpers, and they were there with such great support.
Yeah.
Now, I was really happy that one of our new friends named Owen,
yes,
he came over, and he was really happy to say, hey, Richard.
That was so cute.
Yeah, Owen Sanders. Hey, back to you.
Yes.
And he came with his dad, Mike, and Mike was saying that he was rehearsing his hey-heys all day.
Aww.
So came running over. Hey, Richard.
That was so awesome.
Like, wait a minute, you just said hey, so you're like part of the inner circle. You know the language.
Yeah.
So thanks to Mike and Owen Sanders for coming out there and giving us the secret hey handshake in the form of just saying hey.
Kylo Reed and his daughter Madeline Reed and their family came up to us, and it was really cool.
Yeah, a lot of families that said they were going to come on out. They did, and they said hi, and they joined in the show, and we just had such a great time. And as soon as that show ended, we were already planning our next Reads Day for 2017.
Yes, absolutely.
Billy D. Williams was also there. He did about a 30-minute panel. He was answering questions, answering more questions.
Not about Star Wars.
Yeah, they kind of got on a tangent about African Americans in cinema, to which Billy D kept saying, I don't really think about that.
Yeah. And they kept trying to, or the one guy kept trying to ask him about it, and he kept on sidestepping.
Yeah, that's something, to me, they're characters. We're actors. We're not white, black, whatever. We're just actors.
Yeah. Go Mouse Scout says, #tangential. Yes, they were trying to go on a major tangent.
Yes.
So
that was really fun. It's always so much fun to see Billy D. And then afterwards, he came outside on our stage. Mm-hmm. And he read Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah, which I periscoped. So if you caught that, congratulations. That was very cute.
Yeah.
He was really good with the kids.
Oh, really, really good with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
He would read the page and turn the book around and show them the pictures. So he's done that before. So everyone who came on out, thank you very much. And to Mr. D. Williams, thank you for coming out and saying hello to everybody. Unfortunately, we didn't really get a sound bite from him or get a chance to meet him.
One-on-one anything.
He had some armed security.
You did.
Yeah, but then again, we are the Outlaw Podcast.
Yes. Oh, well.
All right, well.
But it was a fun time. Expect to see us back next year. We are already planning some new fun ways to do our show.
Yeah. See you there. Now, on to other news.
Yes. Giveaway time. Are you guys ready for a giveaway? I am excited. So we were approached by Russell Flores, who is the author of Seen Unseen Disneyland and more Seen Unseen Disneyland, and he is offering us both of his books, both autographed, as a fabulous prize for a new giveaway. So first of all, we want to thank you so much, Russell. Yay!
Thank you, Russell.
Yeah.
And for anyone who hasn't looked at these books or seen these books or heard of these books, Russell has gone around Disneyland and he'll point things out that you see every day, but you don't really see them until they're pointed out. It's like,
or notice them.
That's what that means, and that's why that's there. Disneyland is just so filled with Easter eggs and subtleties. You just can't take it all in. So we took his book around Disney, and it's like, wow, I didn't know that was right there, even though it was right in front of my face the whole time.
Yeah. And as a reminder, Russell Flores was on episodes 71 and 84 of Skywalking Through Neverland, telling us all about his book. So if you want a refresher or you haven't listened to this yet, please head back to 71 and 84 and listen to those great interviews. Now, for the giveaway, are we ready?
We're ready.
All right.
Let's hear it.
We are trying out something new. So every week when we post a new episode, I create a Facebook post of the show and pin it to the top of our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook page. If you head there now, you may notice that episode there. So now our goal is to get all of you Skywalkers on Facebook sharing that post. So when I see that post has been shared 25 times or more, we will do a giveaway for those 2 Seen Unseen Disneyland books.
You mean all they gotta do is share the show and that's it?
That's it.
That's
Share
too
the
easy.
show. I know, but it must be shared 25 times before we can even think of giving away these books.
Still, it must be more complicated than that.
It's not, because I can click on that share button and see who shared it. So you don't need to enter anything. You just need to share that post. And only Skywalkers who have shared that post are eligible to win. All right? So, Scopewalkers already say we can do it.
25 or more times.
I know. So, also, make sure to head to Russell's Facebook page, Seen Unseen Disneyland, and give that a like as well. I know he would appreciate it, and these books are just so great. So, okay, Skywalkers, are you ready?
We're ready.
And go!
They're already sharing the show and it hasn't even been posted yet. I don't know how you guys are doing that.
It's amazing.
All right, so that is things we want to share for this week, as if that weren't enough.
I know. I think there's more, but you'll just have to wait till next week.
All right, now on to our amazing discussion with Monkees and Muppet director James Frawley on our Mouse Droid Mixer.
Be our guest, be our guest, put our podcast to the test. Gather round the microphone and we will do the rest.
Our next guest is someone who I can honestly say has been one of the biggest inspirations of my life as a child, then as an adult. James Frawley is an Emmy award-winning director of the Monkees TV series, among many others, And he also directed a film that paved the way for me to become a puppeteer later in life with the Muppet movie.
He served frog legs at the El Sleazo Cafe, directed Clark Kent as he first discovers he has X-ray vision in Smallville, and taught Mike, Mickey, Peter, and Davy how to become a monkey. Now, here is Mr. James Frawley.
Hey, Mr. Frawley.
Hi, how are you guys?
Oh, we are doing great, thank you very much, and we are so excited to have you on Skywalking Through Neverland.
In fact, when our podcast composer Rob Dellinger heard you were going to be on, he got to work composing this musical intro for you.
If you like the Monkees and if you like the Muppet movie, you've got a special man to thank. Director James Frawley.
I think that's my first musical introduction.
Aww.
Already we set the bar really, really high. All right, now, I wanted to ask you about your career. You started in New York with the improv group The Premise, then made the transition over to Hollywood. How did a comedy actor get the attention of Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider, the creators of the Monkees, to direct their brand new TV show?
Well, actually, the improvisational company, The Premise, was not my first career move. I was an actor in New York for a few years. I was on Broadway with Laurence Olivier. I worked with Angela Lansbury in a musical called Anyone Can Whistle by Stephen Sondheim. I was with the Actors Studio and Lee Strasberg. I studied at the Neighborhood Playhouse with Sandy Meisner. And I went to Carnegie Mellon for a BFA. So I was a trained actor who was cast in The Premise and worked in The Premise off-Broadway in New York. We won a couple of Obies, which are like Tonys, only off-Broadway. And we were asked to come to Los Angeles. So a few of us in the Premise took the trip to L.A., and at the Ivar Theater in L.A., we opened to very good reviews. There were only 4 members of the cast. It was a small improvisational theater, very political and very topical. So we would get suggestions from the audience and improvise, and we also had set scenes that we did. In any case, one night, Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider were in the audience, and they kind of liked my work. They thought I was a funny guy, entertaining, interesting, good point of view, so they asked me to dinner after the show, and I went with them to a restaurant called Dan Tana's, and we sat around, great restaurant. We sat around talking about art and theater and movies, especially French movies, which we both, all 3 of us loved. 400 Blows, also Antonioni, Italian, and we realized we had a lot in common, not only the comedy that I was doing, but also in terms of education and our point of views, politically, and at the end of the meal, they said, we'll make you a deal. If you teach the Monkees for 2 or 3 months, work with them on improvisation and getting to know one another and acting in general, and do well with that, we'll give you an episode to direct.
Wow.
How is that? I said, that was fabulous. I mean, I couldn't believe my good fortune. We shook hands on that. I paid the check, and they left.
Wow.
So that was really the beginning. I worked with the Monkees for, I guess, a couple of months, and we did theater games, and we did improvisational games, and each of them worked on characters, different kinds of characters, to a point where they kind of began to communicate on levels that you have to have when you are a group. And it was with that sense of communication and chemistry. So with that, we began to film our first episode. They had made a pilot, which they discarded or put aside for a while, and with a new script and some great ideas by a very talented group of writers, we began directing and performing and filming the first episode of The Monkees. And from day one, I felt comfortable and alive and happy and communicative with all of the crew and the cast, and it just went great. I mean, I really felt like I was a natural, that I'd really fallen into it, because the only the time I'd been behind a camera was in New York. I had directed made two 16-millimeter black and white shorts, which had won some awards and gotten some attention. And I think actually Bob and Bert had seen them as well. So they knew I had filmmaking as a background, as well as acting. In any case, it went great. And it went so well, in fact, that the first episode I directed was the episode that won the Emmy that year.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty amazing.
That was the episode Royal Flush?
Yes.
I want to ask you about the comedy styles. I know they were really heavy on getting the boys acquainted with the Marx Brothers and the Three Stooges. Was that more of your idea, or was that the idea of Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider?
I mean, I think we all loved those kinds of the Three Stooges and the Marx Brothers and American humor, the history of American humor on film, and that fed into us, certainly. I mean, I think we were much more American than the Beatles. Their humor is much more subtle and much more English, as it should be. We were flat out funny. We just put it out there, and we're very bold and very physical. And I think the style that I created doing the Monkees continued through the 2 years that they were on the air, and led to, I think, and I say this with a great deal of pride, to music videos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that same kind of quick cutting and camera moves and flash camera went on from what I was doing to what they were doing in the videos.
Do you recall what comedy styles worked and what didn't work with the boys?
No. No, I don't think it's I think it's every day you come to the set alive and awake and ready to create, and whatever kind of comes up feeds what you're doing. So it was really an improvisational life. Every day was a new day, and so in every scene there were new demands, and we would meet those demands, and we would either feel that they were good or not so good. And Rafelson and Schneider were in the editing room, so they were making us look even better by cutting out the stuff that wasn't good. And that's kind of how it went. We also would go to the beach, for example, with the four boys, and I would just say, okay, roll down the hill. Do a funny walk. Throw sand on each other. I mean, whatever. We would just kind of make it up as we went along. And there was such kind of freedom in that because both Rafelson and Schneider knew that we had something very special going, the five of us, that they kind of let us kind of have our way. I didn't feel any restrictions whatsoever, which for an artist is really a magical place to be.
So, did you create the monkey walk?
Yeah, I mean, we did it together. You mean the ones where they overlap?
Yeah.
Yeah, but those walks were done in movies long before we did.
While you were making up these fun dance moves and everything, were you playing music on the beach at all while you were doing that?
Not really, no. We were pretty much hearing the music in our heads.
So it seems like you were the honorable fifth monkey. So was it hard balancing being one of them and then having the responsibility to stay on a schedule and put out a network show?
Yes. I had to work very quickly, and our crew had to work very quickly. We would sometimes get 40 and 50 shots a day, which for a movie crew is a lot of shooting. But we needed that much film in order to cut together the sequences that we had.
Now, there's one gag in particular I've always loved, even as a kid, and that's when it's the shot that's in the intro of the show, and that's the Monkees pushing Davy on a bed in the streets of Los Angeles. Did you guys just do that guerrilla style, or did you have permits for that?
Yeah, no, it was guerrilla style. I was right outside the studio on Gower Street, so we just took them out there and did that, and did some running around, and drove the monkey mobile around and did shots of them in the monkey mobile, and we had that kind of freedom because nobody was saying no.
Oh, those days are long over.
I know.
That's
wow.
one of the greatest shots that's inspired me to do any kind of guerrilla filmmaking or podcasting, is that shot of the Monkees pushing Davy in the bed through the streets of Los Angeles. Now, one of our holiday traditions between me and Sarah is watching the Monstrous Monkey Mash, the episode that you directed that used all the traditional monsters. There's a cutaway to you actually directing Mickey through a monkey scream.
All right, good.
Would you like a little bit bigger? That was my medium scare.
Oh, do another one.
Would you like a long one?
A small one.
Smaller one?
Yeah. Good.
Was this your idea to break the fourth wall, which is something that was way out of the norm for 60s television?
We did a lot of that. We actually acknowledged the fact that we were shooting a series and would relate to the camera every once in a while, break the fourth wall, as you say. It was fun. I mean, it was something I came up with when somebody is missing and they say, "He's gone," and they all look at the camera and say it in unison.
He's gone!
You know, it's a way of making fun of ourselves and making fun of the event. And it included the audience, allowed the audience to participate. I love breaking the fourth wall. I think it's great fun.
I find it hilarious. Like, as a kid, you don't necessarily get that, but when you watch it again as an adult, these Monkees TV shows, like, there's a point where someone says, "Oh, we just have to go past Gower." You know, like Gower Street and
into the studio.
And into the studio, yeah. So I really appreciate that, and that's just a fun, genius move.
Well, thanks. I forget what the name of the episode is, but there's one in which we start shooting an episode, and the monkeys say, "Oh, come on, we've done this again and again and again. Let's not do another one with gangsters." And I say, "Oh, come on, guys." And I actually walk into the shot, and we have an argument on camera. And I think it's Mickey who says, "I got to talk to the writers." And I said, "Where are you going?" And he walks out of the set, across the stage, past makeup and hair, past the crew, past the camera, into a room marked writers. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Actually, I think that's two episodes that we're referring to, because the one that you walked into the frame when Mickey said, "Oh, we've done this a million times," that was Monkees in Paris, because at that point the monkeys say, "Okay, we'll take a vacation. We're going to Paris. You guys figure out what you're going to do."
Cut.
16 shows straight now.
Man,
I mean,
know,
every time we start up a show, you start on the monkey and you pull back and do something on the table. Out of a possible 11 shows.
There's always a tall heavy and a small heavy.
Man, you're not being fair.
You see one monkey episode, you see all the monkey episodes. Man, it's all the same.
The scare is very funny. Try the scare. Come on.
No, Jim, it's funny to you because you have...
Well, how do you think I feel? I would direct the same show.
Let's go. We're going to take a vacation,
yeah,
and
right.
you work the show out,
right?
Because we're not going to be here anymore.
Guys.
We'll see you later.
Paris.
Paris.
Oh,
we're in Paris.
Paris. Here we come, Paris.
Fellas, hey, come on, guys. What is this? I mean, you got 60 guys on the set. Artie, boys, let's come in for a close-up on the monkey. All right.
And then there was another episode where Mickey says,
"A brilliant idea."
Well,
that's what we need, a brilliant idea.
I remember.
And then he walks to the writer's room.
That's right. And there were the four ancient Asians sitting around old Underwood typewriters typing away. And he said, "Okay, guys, rewrite this." And they rewrite it, and he takes the pages back all the way across the stage, hands them out, and we continue the episode. That's very far out.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't see that very often in television in those days.
Was the Monkees TV series the first to ever break the fourth wall in that way?
I think so.
Wow. Now, was the Monkees show a, pardon the pun, was that a stepping stone to directing the Muppet movie?
Well, I think I have a certain kind of quirky temperament, and I relate to odd characters easily. I'm very comfortable with the Monkees and those four guys and all the characters we had as guests, and I think Jim Henson recognized that quality in me because he loved the Monkees, and I also made a film called The Big Bus, which was absurd and ridiculous with a huge cast of people. It's kind of a takeoff on disaster movies. And it was totally silly. And like the movie Airplane,
right?
You know, we also broke the fourth wall. We also had weird characters. And so Jim Henson saw both of those material, the Big Bus and the Monkees, and said, "Find me this director and bring him over." And so they flew me over, and I met Jim Henson, and we got on terrific. We really did, from the very get-go. Coincidentally, we were born on the same day.
Oh, wow.
Year. So not only were we both Libras, but we were both born September 29th.
Oh, my.
That was meant to happen.
Yes, so, yeah. And so I spent a few months over there learning how the Muppets were done, because I had watched them on television, of course, but I had no knowledge of Muppeteering, of puppetry. And I watched how they did it, and how the Muppet performers are right underneath the camera, each with their own little video unit on their chest so they can see the lens and see what the camera's seeing and keep themselves out of frame. And we got on terrifically, we really did. But I had a question for Jim. I said, you've never been outside the studio with these characters. You've always been inside the studio shooting on tape. What is it going to look like when these guys are in real life? Because we're going to have to film them out of the studio in real locations. And so one Sunday afternoon, we took Frank Oz, who was a brilliant puppeteer and Jim's partner for many years, and Jim and 3 or 4 of the Muppet characters in a car, and my camera, my little Super 8 camera, and we went out to the country, and we shot an audition, basically, with Jim and Frank Oz talking to a live cow in the field, and walking around real locations and driving in a real car. And then we brought it back and we looked at it, and son of a bitch, you really bought it. You really accepted it. It was like, wow, you don't even question it. And that piece of film, by the way, is on YouTube, I think, under Muppet Auditions.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I found them last night. Oh my goodness, they are just phenomenal.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, I kept it. I had the Super 8 original. I also, by the way, have an 8x10 glossy of me standing with the original fork in the road. Not the fork that you sent me. That's a fake. That's just inspired by the joke, but it's not our fork.
Oh, my goodness.
A friend of mine who is another co-host on another show that we do here, Talking Apes TV, he said, when you talk to Mr. Frawley, you've got to ask him about that fork in the road gag. He still laughs at that to this day. He said, you've got to ask him where that joke came from and where that fork is today.
Well, actually, that was a joke of mine. I mean, I love pun jokes. And fork in the road was my idea. I had the crew make up a fork. I think it's about an 8-foot-tall fork, 8 or 9, 3-dimensional, and we put it in the shot, and it was very funny. We just kind of did it without causing a big deal about it, just like there's a fork in the road.
Hey, Fozzie, I want you to turn left if you come to a fork in the road.
Yes, sir. Turn left at the fork in the road. Permit!
I don't believe that.
And I got to keep it because it's my kind of humor.
Aww.
So I had it in my garage for many years.
I know, as a kid, I love that joke. I recall laughing hysterically in my seat in 1979 at that joke. Now, which leads me to this question. Did you direct the Monkees or the Muppets for kids?
No. No, we knew that, kids would like it, like them both. But we were fairly hip adults. And so we had to be amused ourselves. So we did things mostly for ourselves, things that break us up, and kind of assumed that the kids would like it. Because we had a huge college audience when we did the Monkees. And it was very hip, very stoned humor.
Let's take a quick break from our talk with Monkees Muppet director James Frawley to hear from another great podcast.
Forget about whether Han shot first. He did. Is it true that Han Solo teamed up with a 6-foot green rabbit? Did Darth Vader profess a devotion to the immortal gods of the Sith? And did Leia's unhealthy attraction to her brother grow for years? Ew. Hi, I'm voice actor Michael Corley, and I want to answer these questions and more on the VoxBox Star Wars comic book podcast. Each VoxBox episode covers classic Star Wars comics, starting with the original Marvel series in 1977 all the way to the present day. So tune in, have some fun, and may the Force be with you at VoxBoxPodcast.com.
And now back with Jim Frawley, director of the Monkees TV series and the original Muppet movie.
Yeah, even as an adult, I really love the comedy style of both the Monkees and the Muppet movie. But as a kid, I enjoyed it on a whole different level. So I've always wondered.
It related both to you as a child and an adult. Because that's how we had a very childish approach to life in that time anyway. And it was a time of innocence and openness and humor and acceptance. And it was a much more positive feeling than it is today. Today's very cynical and dark and frightening.
What inspires you today in terms of comedy or styles of filmmaking?
That's a good question. I don't like most of the romantic comedies I see. I liked, it was a few years ago, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. But those kinds of scripts don't come along very often.
Right, the thinking person's comedy.
Yeah. I like Jack Nicholson did a movie a couple of years ago, As Good as It Gets.
Mm.
You know, I thought that was well done. I think she's a good writer, good filmmaker.
So when you hear of a filmmaker coming out with a new movie, is there one person that you really gravitate toward?
Yeah, Woody Allen.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a fan of Woody's for years, and, you know, I like some of his films better than others, but I just identify with him. We're the same age. We come from New York. We have that kind of sensibility. So Woody is somebody I like, yeah.
How about the newer Muppet movies?
Quite frankly, I was disappointed.
Oh, really? With both of the films?
Yeah.
Oh, how so?
Well, I have a great deal of pride in what we created. You know, we did it first, and we created the approach. But it had about it a kind of simplicity and a childlike openness, and was about love and family and about a journey across country, which is really a metaphor for the journey of life. And I think the newer movies tried to be too hip and too clever and too cute. I mean, I know they have to come up with a new way of doing it, but I don't think they've been successful, to be quite honest. To put Miss Piggy in the kind of light that she's in, and Kermit is kind of running a late-night talk show. I mean, as an idea in a conference room when they're pitching it, and I can hear them say, oh, yeah, that'll be great, that'll be great. But I lost the warmth and the heart and the openness that we had created. I really did.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why that new Muppets show was canceled, because it just didn't really appeal to the Muppet audience.
No.
Well, I'm glad the Muppets are coming back, because it's so sad to see something as genius as the Muppets get lost in time, and I feel like that's what's really happening with that franchise.
But you're calling it a franchise. You know, I don't think we considered ourselves a franchise or the first of many. We were just making the movie, and when you do that, you're satisfying yourself for the creative moment that exists in the present. I'm not saying George Lucas didn't know he was going to make a lot of Star Wars, and he's brilliant enough to do that, but somehow the Muppets are a very fragile reality, and they require a lot of kindness and care, and you know, when I would direct Jim Henson or Frank Oz, they're under the stage, you know, with their arms sticking up into the Muppets. I would talk to the actual characters, to Fozzie and to Kermit, and say, no, this moment has to be more touching, more real. You have to really care about this. You have to really be hurt by what Kermit says to you, you know. And I think directing it in that way had something to do with the reality that Jim Henson and Frank Oz experienced when they did the movie. There wasn't anything cold or cynical about what we were doing.
Did they ask you to direct that way, or is that something that you thought?
That's just my instinct. That's the way I was trained. I was a member of the Actors Studio. I studied with Lee Strasberg. I always talked to actors in very intimate ways. I mean, I was a real actor's director. And that was because I identified with actors. I was an actor myself for many years. I understood what an actor needed. And so in a way, that's how I did it. Also because when you're looking at Kermit and Fozzie through the lens, that's who exists. Frank and Jim don't exist. I mean, they exist, but you kind of put them out of your consciousness and concentrate on what's in the frame. And what was in the frame were these little characters that I loved with all my heart. And I think my love for them and the generosity with which I dealt with them came across in the movie. I didn't feel that was true of the later Muppet shows and later Muppet movies. I really didn't. It felt a little, well, never mind. Anyway, that's what I have to say.
Well, it seems like you like directing females, whether it be Callista Flockhart or the show That Girl or Miss Piggy.
Yeah, Miss Piggy.
Are females easier to direct?
I don't think it's easier or harder. I mean, I think it's easier to dance with a woman than it is to dance with a man.
Or do you prefer it?
I've always worked very well with actresses. Tyne Daly was a dear friend of mine on Cagney and Lacey and continues to be. I'm very comfortable with women. They don't feel threatened by me. So I think they do nice work.
Did Miss Piggy ever throw temper tantrums on the set of the Muppet movie?
There was a question asked by Princess Margaret. You're laughing.
No, I'm dying to hear the answer.
Oh, and this was at the royal premiere of the Muppet movie in London. And she was introduced to me. I was on the royal receiving line with all the other characters and people that had something to do with the Muppet movie. And she was introduced to me as a director. And she said, "Oh, Mr. Frawley, how was it for you to direct Miss Piggy?" And I said, "Well, regardless of what you may have read in the tabloids, our relationship was completely professional." And she loved that answer.
Aww.
Is that the best question you've ever been asked on a red carpet?
It's the best question royalty has ever asked.
Do you ever want to revisit the Muppet world?
Not really. I mean, I spent 2 years with them. You know, from the time I met Jim in London till the time the movie came out, you know, prepping the movie, working on the script, casting it. We had an amazing cast. I mean, Mel Brooks is a friend of mine, and he was marvelous in the movie, and he worked beautifully with Miss Piggy. Orson Welles, with his background in magic, loved the Muppets and knew all the characters, and was charming with them.
Yeah, the Muppet movie was just filled with guest star cameos. Did they come to Jim Henson and say, "I really want to do this," or did Jim Henson go to them?
No, I think we cast them. They didn't cast them. We cast them. Jim Henson, because the show that he did in London was as popular as it was and had many guest stars, it was easy for Jim and Lou Gray, the executive producer, to approach these cameos. And part of the deal with them was that we would use them for one day only. I think maybe Mel worked for 2 days, Mel Brooks. But most of them were in and out very quickly. I mean, I had to learn how to work as quickly as possible with these guys.
Was there any specific actor that had a hard time relating to a Muppet co-star?
Curiously enough, like, let me see, Richard Pryor was terrific with them. I mean, he really looked at them. He really talked to them. He also had the ability to not look at the Muppet performance, but to play to the Muppets themselves.
I would love to see outtakes of that scene of Richard Pryor as the balloon salesman at the carnival.
Beautiful chicken like that deserves 2 balloons.
You're right.
I have guys come in all the time. Sometimes they get a bunch of balloons for the girls. They go gaga for it.
Gaga? I'll take the whole bunch. Gaga, gaga.
Oh, you remember that. That's good. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, because he was more of an adult comedy actor. So, so to see him in this.
Gould got on great with everybody, too. Elliot was a friend of mine, and a contemporary.
Well, we can sit here and reminisce for hours, but I want to ask you what you're working on these days.
Well, I'm retired.
All right.
I am very happily retired. I live in the desert, have a beautiful home, 2 wonderful dogs, a wife that I've been with for over 30 years, who is my friend and companion and lover. And what could be better?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing could be better. All right, Mr. Frawley, I want to thank you very, very much for talking with us. And wow, this has been nothing short of just a phenomenal time. And just
great. You guys are great fans. It's really a pleasure talking to both of you.
Do you ever go back and watch the Monkees episodes?
No.
Is that by choice or just because it just never came across your...
Yeah, of course it's by choice.
Oh.
Is that because you would want to redirect it in your head, or is there just...
No.
Okay.
Oh.
What I did. Why would I want to change that?
Just to go back and see these episodes that just keeps millions of fans together and just go, wow, I was part of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm thrilled to have been. That was a great beginning to my career. I had great fun. It was free and easy, and we were well rewarded financially. And with the Emmy, getting an Emmy was a great honor. And being able to respond to the response today, the very fact that today they still have a draw is terrific. I'm very proud of that. I really am.
Like I was saying earlier, you have been a huge inspiration to my life. I do puppet shows for schools and libraries, and all the comedy, all the humor of my shows is all derived from the Monkees, especially the infamous Monkee scream.
Oh, great. I'm so happy. It's good for you. No, that's a good thing to do. It really is.
Yeah, and every once in a while, I will get someone saying, you know the Monkees used to do that same kind of scream? So you have made a huge impact on a lot of people's lives, and we thank you for that.
Well, you're very sweet. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Been nice talking to you guys.
Moving right along. Moving right along.
Shoutouts, Skywalker shoutouts. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
Let's start out the shout-out segment here with Kurt the Nerd, who sent in an audio message.
Hey, Richard and Sarah. This is Kurt the Nerd. Skywalking Through Neverland is one of my favorite podcasts. You two are awesome. I love the memories, interviews, facts, silliness, and family fun you both provide. May the Force be with you. And remember, Neverland on Alderaan.
Aw, what a wonderful message. And thank you, Kurt. I know you sent that like mid-March, but it didn't turn up in my inbox until like just last week. So we were so excited to hear that.
We love those voice memos, so please send them on in.
Yeah, you can just email in. You can use the voice memo app on your phone. And literally once it's saved, you just press the little share button and email it to us at share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com.
And how about SpeakPipe?
Yeah, on our website, Skywalking Through Neverland, on the right side, there's a little little button you can push for SpeakPipe, and that'll record your audio right there as well, and it'll go straight to us.
Even if you just want to send in a hey.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we love it. All right, well, on Twitter, is one of my favorite places to find shout-outs. So at Amy Wishman, she is knocking it out of the park with her tweets. So she just tweeted, "The quantity and quality of this podcast are astounding. Worth your time to listen." And with a quote tweet of our show. So thank you, Amy. That was wonderful.
Wow, quantity and quality.
I know.
That's awesome.
It was. And I was looking on iTunes last week and I found new iTunes reviews.
All right, love these.
So Duquesne, he posted, positive, fun, clean, and worth a listen. That was the title of his review. And he said, my family has become huge fans of this podcast. Skywalking Through Neverland continues to bring fans excellent content week after week, from news to event coverage to some of the best interviews you'll hear anywhere. Aww. And I believe that's the Hunt family.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
actually, yeah.
Oh, good deal.
Jeremy Hunt. So thank you so much.
And how did they make their mark on Skywalking Through Neverland?
They were the... Oh, are you asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you.
They were the first family to become a Skywalker of the Week family.
Love that.
Yeah. Also, okay, so there was another new iTunes review from Lori Lazotte, and she posted a review titled Family Friendly Fun. So, Sarah and Richard are charming, funny, and friendly. It's like we are one big happy Disney and Star Wars family.
We are.
I know, that's totally how I feel. I love hearing about all their adventures in Things We Want to Share.
In what?
In Things We Want to Share.
Do-do.
And the music... What? The music cues are catchy.
Things
is her
we
next
want
line.
to share.
That's right. I find myself singing along well after the show is done.
What do you think she is singing right now?
Things we want to share.
Things we want to share.
So yeah, I love that whole families listen. I mean, even when we went out to our event this past weekend, we found that was
all those
true.
Families, yeah.
I think that's so great, and that it feels like family. So our Facebook group really has been feeling like family, right?
Yeah. Especially all those families that came out said, "Oh, it feels like you're part of our family."
I know, it's so cool. So, in fact, it was Lori who posted in our Facebook group this question last week. Does anyone else sing along with the Shoutouts or Tiki Cantina?
Shoutouts.
I know.
Skywalker shoutouts.
Yeah. So that post got 22 comments from Skywalkers who all do happy dances or sing along. So we just want to thank Rob Dellinger a lot and give him a big shout out.
And here's something that he doesn't want me to tell you.
Oh.
But when you go out to see Rob in concert with Stompy Jones, just yell out Skywalker jingles. Because when you and I went to go see Rob a little while ago, we were yelling, Shoutouts!
Aww. Oh, Tiki Cantina!
Play Things We Want to Share!
Oh, it's so cute.
Do a Skywalker jingle!
Yeah.
At first, it'll confuse him for a second or two, but he'll get it. And you know what? If he's feeling up to it, he may do a live Skywalking Through Neverland jingle for you.
Are you speaking for him now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
He knows nothing about this. So when he says, where'd you guys get this idea? Just leave me out of it.
Although he does listen to the show,
Dope!
Well, that brings us to Rob Dellinger's awesome compositions and this week's Skywalker of the Week.
Ryan Stampley. Ryan Stampley.
Ryan, you're the Skywalker of the Week. Are you excited?
Yeah, Ryan's been on our show with the Star Wars Celebration Anaheim Roundtable.
Yeah. He's a faithful Skywalker and listener, so we wanted to give him the Skywalker of the Week for this week.
Our Skywalker from Down Under. And of course, all these Skywalker jingles are written by Rob Dellinger.
The John Williams of podcasting.
You're the busiest bee in the fan community. You get around the galaxy enthusiastically. You're 0.5 past light speed.
So, the Disney parks wrapped up Star Wars weekends last year. But in true Disney fashion, they have so much to give us in the future.
Jeannie Gallo, owner of theprincesspapers.com and the official Walt Disney World correspondent for the Disney Dream Girls podcast, she recently attended a press event at Walt Disney World and got a scoop on what they have in store.
Hey, Jeannie.
Hey, Richard. Hey, Sarah. And hey, Skywalkers.
Aww.
She speaks our language.
She does. We're so glad Michelle loaned you out to us.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the Star Wars stuff.
Ooh. Does that mean you're a Star Wars fan?
I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not your level of Star Wars fan.
But you're more than Michelle.
isn't everybody?
Yeah, but you know what? Michelle Young did get us all connected,
Yes.
so gotta give her props and tell her to go hit the Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
All right. With all that said, let's find out a little bit about you and what exactly is princesspapers.com.
ThePrincessPapers.com is my little Disney blog, and I venture around. I live about 15 minutes from the parks now.
Wow.
In Walt Disney World in Florida. I'm the East Coast girl. So I'm 15 minutes away, and I'm there all the time, try to catch all the new stuff, and I try to put that up on the blog, and then I'm on the Disney Dream Girls, find it on iTunes. I'm on the show a lot, reporting what's going on, and there's so much going on now.
Now, after all this, Michelle still doesn't know about Star Wars? What is not happening with Michelle?
I don't know. I mean, she's quite far away from me in the United Kingdom, and when she comes to visit this summer, I think when she stays with me for a few days, that's all we're going to do.
All right. I digress, so please continue.
All right. So, but that's my thing. I'm semi-retired here, but busier than ever because of Disney. So
I like the way that works. Now, I know I've heard you on Disney Dream Girls before talking about several things, but one of my favorites that you were on, you were talking about some special events that you created, like dinner in the Tower of Terror and things like that. What is that called?
Well, I went through Disney catered events.
That's what it is.
And yeah, there's information on my blog. You have to kind of scroll back about 2 years for those events. And I've heard you on the show too, and I like your Disney Run stuff and all your Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that you tell a great story, and that people, if after listening to this show, head over to Disney Dream Girls and check out some of yours, because you tell a great story. Well, you just attended a press event at Walt Disney World. Now, can you tell us what that was called and what you all found out?
Okay, this was the Residents Awaken Summer Media Event, Walt Disney World. So this was everything that's coming out at the different parks for the summer, the Animal Kingdom at Night stuff, the new Frozen attraction happening in Norway, and, of course, the new Star Wars, a Galactic Spectacular fireworks show, which I'm here to discuss with you.
Wow, that sounds spectacular.
And I heard Mark Daniels was on your show.
Yeah.
He was mentioning about it coming. I have more details, though.
Oh, please share.
Okay, well, I spoke with the show director for the fireworks show, Michael Roddy. And he is wonderful, and he is excited, and I'm pretty sure he's been planning this since he was a very small child. So, this is like a life's desire built up into this. And it's, from what he said, it's not like the other shows that you see with fireworks at Disney where you're watching and you're a spectator with it and you're just enjoying the show. This, he said, you're going to feel the emotion of it, and it's going to surround you, and you're going to be just in the show. And he said they're doing this with the music. Okay, the music, they actually worked with John Williams, music director, to create the music with this. So he said it's totally with his blessing. Everything that's being done. And this is the part I thought was incredible. They actually have created new footage that has never been seen in any of the actual movies. And it was made exclusively for this show. So when you see it, it's not something you've ever seen in a theater. And he said that the way the technology works, that they can actually change it sometimes.
All right, so let's backtrack here. What exactly does that mean?
I don't know. But he did say that, like, when new films and new things come out, they can actually incorporate that in.
Right, but what new footage is going to be inserted into these fireworks? And did you get a chance to see a preview of this show?
No. There's no. Well, I did not see it, but I did hear it because I live close enough that I actually have a distant view of the fireworks and can hear them. And when I spoke to him, I asked him, one of my questions was after he was done explaining it, I said, how many high fives were you giving each other whenever this was done? And he said, well, we had our test run last night. And I said, that's what I heard. That's what I heard going off late at night.
Well, you really are close.
Yes, very close. But he said that what they've done, they've worked with, the film creators and everything, and they've taken all those same, I think he said they had the same like models and everything to use, and they created new footage using those things.
Wow.
To incorporate into this. So he said you're going to see like a totally different view. What he said, like Luke going into the trench of the Death Star, he said it's going to be a totally different
point of view.
Yeah. And so like they've created this all specifically for this, and you can't see it on film anywhere else.
Wow. Now, will this be on a big Jumbotron?
No, it's going to be on basically all of the buildings and such around. Like we have the Chinese Theater is like the main building at the end of, it's in Hollywood Studios Park. So the Chinese Theater is going to be the main focal point, but he said it will be all around you, and the buildings are going to turn into, and it's not going to be just like exactly projected on them, and it's not going to be like there's old illumination shows where they would use lasers and turn buildings into things. He said it'll look exactly like the Twin Suns, Tatooine, and he said you'll have a field of battle droids and Starkiller Base and like the trench of the Death Star, and he said it will at some point feel like you are actually in the middle of a lightsaber battle.
Wow. So honestly, you know what this sounds like is the Disneyland Forever fireworks that Disneyland put out for the 60th anniversary, where if you're standing on Main Street, you are literally surrounded. You have projections on the castle. You have projections on Main Street. When the Little Mermaid section comes on, like little
bubbles.
Bubbles go throughout the land, but then also on the tops of the buildings of Main Street, you have little seaweed coming up, like blow up seaweed.
Definitely is 4D.
Yeah. So I think they're like Star Wars eyes. They're like doing the same thing, but Star Wars
Star Wars
style.
theme.
Oh my gosh.
He said that this was going to be like, as far as we got the music, we got sound effects of like, he said like the TIE fighters, it'll be like they're flying past you.
Right.
And then they'll like fly right to the like building, you'll see it, and then practical explosion will go with it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it'll be like you're in the middle of the battle. And he said that so you've got the music, you've got the sound effects, you've got these projections that he said are, because I said, is this like the projection show that we already can see, over at the castle in Magic Kingdom? He said, it's kind of like that, but so much more. That's how he described it to me. He said it just like that. And I was like, well, this should be interesting. And then he said, then the practical effects come in. They're using lasers, and they're using the largest shells Disney has ever used for any fireworks display anywhere.
You mean shells like firework?
Cannons,
the
mortars,
the biggest booms.
Boy, that is something to dangle that carrot in front of you and then not show you a preview.
Well, it's
or
not
did
quite
they?
ready. It's a couple weeks away. It's not ready. And there was one other thing he mentioned.
Yeah.
50-foot flare bursts.
That's what Mark Daniel was telling us about.
Flare bursts?
To make it look like there's a lightsaber standing right there.
Whoa!
Exactly. And I do have a picture of the concept art that's going to be on the Princess Papers blog, and you'll probably see it over on the Disney Dream Girls website also.
Oh, cool.
Wow. Now, is this in conjunction with something else, or is this Fireworks Spectacular
its own
a
thing?
main event itself?
It is the main night show. I mean, well, I guess we have Fantasmic still also in that park.
Yeah.
But the Star Wars fireworks have been going for a couple months. We've had a couple different changes to them. And I knew that the show was changing again, but I expected, it was going to kind of be cut back. But it is not. It is, now that they've shut down a lot of the rest of the park to start building the Star Wars Land section, it seems like they're kind of feeding us little bits of Star Wars at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the next progression in what they're giving us while the build is going. And, well, I was just over there the other day, and after the interviews, I was in the backlot area where they're going to build, and so far we just kind of have a wall up with a picture. And
oh, is that all you can see right now?
Yeah, that's it so far.
Did you try to, scale the wall?
No, I can see over the wall into the streets of America. Like, if you stand up the hill a little bit, you can see over it. And I took a picture of that, too, with Smokey on the Princess Papers vlog. But you just see basically a sign blocking off the streets of America, and then you can see into them, and doesn't really look like anything's been done.
Well, okay, going back to the Star Wars fireworks show, do you know how long this will continue now? Once it starts on June 17th, right?
Yes, it'll start that, and I'm not sure how long I don't know that there's any end date for it, because he said, as other things come out, they can add the footage and change the footage. So that sounded like, this is going to become the new evening show going forward.
All I can say is it better be going on during Star Wars Celebration Orlando next year.
Yeah, this whole park should just be Star Wars Land. Forget about Hollywood Studios. That's a thing of the past. Just call it Star Wars Land and be done with it.
I think that's what it's going to be. Well, and then we're going to have the Toy Story Land off to the side.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for a soon-to-be, Adventureland name change or something. We don't even have a park icon right now.
Well, wouldn't the Chinese theater be kind of the park icon?
I think they have the Tower of Terror as it for now for merchandising purposes.
Oh, I see.
The icon should just be a big dollar bill. There's Hollywood. It's great that they're doing it little by little. I thought maybe because whenever we see a new fireworks show, it's always in conjunction with something else. Mm-hmm. But this is just a standalone spectacular.
Maybe they'll surprise us. We'll see, because, that's opening at the same time. The Frozen attraction at Epcot's opening, and all of the new things at Animal Kingdom now opening. Well, they're opening about a week and a half earlier. So it'll be interesting to see when that starts, like which direction the crowds are drawn.
Yeah, definitely.
So
that's a no-brainer. Logging ahead to Star Wars.
If it's will the dads and the sons be at Hollywood Studios, and the moms and the daughters waiting to meet Anna and Elsa in Norway, or I don't.
I think kids right now are replacing Anna and Elsa with Rey.
I think so too.
So I think the little girls are just as into it as the little boys.
And BB-8.
That's for everybody.
Oh man, if they have a walk around, like a BB-8 meet and greet,
a BB-8 roll around,
you'd see so many people coming to Hollywood Studios.
I'll put in the suggestion. My opinion pulls no weight, but I'll mention it.
Awesome. Well, I'm assuming you're going to be on the Disney Dreamgirls as well, right?
Yes.
And do you go into a little more detail on the Frozen and some of the other things that you know about?
Yes, we've got, it'll be this latest show on Disney Dreamgirls, and you can go to DisneyDreamgirls.com, or you can go to iTunes and find Disney Dreamgirls, or Twitter is DizDreamgirls, and find links to the show. You can also find it on the Princess Papers. There's a link there. And I will be talking about all the details of what I saw. I got to go behind the wall for the new Frozen build over there.
Ooh.
And yeah, I got a nice tour behind the wall, and I'm actually happy to say, little quick blurb, that it's not just Frozen Land. There's extreme Norway culture brought in. They went to Norway. I'm much happier and calmer about it now. So
that's pretty cool.
On the outside, it's Norway. On the inside, it's Frozen.
Now, okay, do they still lead you out with that Norway movie?
The history of Norway in 35 minutes.
I didn't go over to inside the ride yet. It's still a construction site. So I was in kind of a hard hat area of things. But
I didn't know Arendelle was in Norway.
It's not
based on.
And I don't think they really are, because this is you're going to meet them at the cabin where they go visit, where they used to go with their parents.
Oh, Anna and Elsa?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The meet and greet area. They're actually in a cabin that is modeled after a real cabin in Norway that's at a museum, with a real fortress, the first one built in Norway, and all of that very authentic stuff that actually exists in Norway, and that's actually where you find them in the pavilion.
I'm surprised they didn't tie more of the Empire Strikes Back into that Norway land, just because the Hoth scenes were shot there. Whenever I go there, I'm always crossing my fingers. Come on, just give it a mention, give it a shout out.
That's what I thought that they were going to turn Hollywood Studios into. I'm like, do you want to build an at?
Oh, you know what? The day is young. Give them time.
That's the next go round when they next fix up Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Did they say what's coming after the Star Wars Fireworks Spectacular show?
No, I mean, I spoke to Michael, and he is the show director for this show. So his tapped in knowledge that I can get to is for this show.
Okay.
So
well, they better be doing something for Star Wars Celebration Orlando next year. It's right there.
Again, I'll send a note.
Yeah. Would you please?
Say, we want another last tour to Endor, but call it first tour to Jakku.
There you go. There you have it.
It's possible that my suggestions may make it not happen. So.
All right, keep your mouth closed then.
Okay.
But before you keep your mouth shut, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you on social media.
If you want to give me a hey over, you can find me at theprincesspapers.com. You can find me on Twitter at Princess Papers, Facebook, The Princess Papers, or Jeannie Gallo on Facebook, and always on the Disney Dream Girl show.
Perfect. So. Well, thank you so much, Jeannie, for joining us. We really love your insight into this new Star Wars fireworks show.
Yeah, if you hear anything else, we get dibs over Michelle at Disney Dream Girls, okay? That's a yes.
You know what? Lightsaber fight for it.
Okay.
I don't think she even knows what a lightsaber is.
I don't think she does, so I mean...
So there you go. Come on. Tell her I want words with her. All right.
Nice.
Jeannie, thanks for everything, and we look forward to meeting you one day.
Great show, guys.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye, Jeannie.
Just when we thought it was safe to record at Disneyland.
Oh, burned.
Yeah, in steps the security gentleman whose name should not be named but rhymes with Dawn.
Oh.
Okay? And leave it at that.
Rhymes with Dawn.
Right. So, here we are. You know what? Let's first say who we're with, even though we already prefaced this.
Okay.
We're with Dave Skale.
Hey, hey.
We're with Anthony Fox from Mousepire.
Hey, hey, hey.
And his girlfriend, Bekah.
Hey.
And we are sitting outside of the Radiator Springs ride, so that
we're at
might
Flo's,
be what you're hearing.
We're at Flo's Diner, right outside, and Radiator Springs Racers goes by every, 20 seconds. Yeah,
so
it's kind of fun.
The main objective today was to see the new Frozen show, which opened today, May 27th. Mm-hmm. And it was quite an ordeal getting here.
Yeah, so...
It sounds like each one of us had an ordeal getting here.
We had some issues.
Which could have been... sidestepped, done away with.
I want to say that we were here for the Frozen Live at the Hyperion show.
Right.
Because Disney, everything is labeled very long names, right? All right, so let's.
I think even Indiana Jones would have had an ordeal getting here.
Yeah, so we park at the McKean Friends parking structure.
Well, some of us did.
Oh, but you know what, Dave? You got there faster than we did.
Yes, you did.
All right.
And why was that?
Well, Richard, we were parking at the Mickey and Friends parking structure. We took our typical video and pictures of Star Wars Land.
Which you can find on Facebook.
Yes. Yeah, we did a Facebook
on our Facebook
Live.
group, yep.
We did a Facebook Live for the first time.
Right. And we had a backpack full of our recording equipment, which we always bring to Disneyland.
We always
Never again to Disney Springs.
Right.
We won't do that mistake again.
Right. So we walked all the way to the gates through security, and which point we were stopped. And they had to get a lead.
Now, this was a big media day. What was the big media day for?
Well, technically, the media day was last night. However, I guess there was still media going on for the Frozen Live at the Hyperion opening, basically.
And since we didn't get a media clearance, we were the outlaws.
Yes. Apparently, we could not bring in recording equipment, even though Anthony over here, what did you find online?
Well, according to the prohibited items on Disneyland's official website, they're nowhere to be found in the prohibited items anything about not recording equipment.
Right, not recording equipment for personal use. Apparently, recording equipment for commercial use
Professional
is
recording equipment.
Exactly.
And I can see that to a point.
Right.
But it was the treatment.
Right, well, okay, so let's get into that. Had he just said, all right, you guys need to go back to your cars, put this back, whatever.
Well, he gave us the option. One of these two. We can either throw the $600 recorder away or go back home and leave it there.
Right.
And I said, oh, you know what? We live in Long Beach and we took an Uber car to get here. So that's going to ruin the whole day. What's the third option? We only have two options. Right, but just say Disney wanted to go above and beyond and help out an annual pass member. What would they say? Only two options, sir. But let's just say this went around for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I guess he got a little leery of us. So that's what So we went back out the exit gate, and we were walking halfway down, kind of thinking, well, maybe if we duck into Disney...
The Grand Californian Hotel, and we can go through the parks that way.
Yeah.
But
then you, Richard, your sixth sense.
Yeah, I turn around, and there's Secret Squirrel trying to hide in and out of posts following us.
Yes, so the lead who had told us to exit was actually following
us. And he had a couple of security guards around him.
Yeah.
Because we do look like dangerous outlaw podcast. I guess our reputation precedes us, and we have our reputation now.
Yes. So we're like, oh crap. So we went all the way, we rode the tram, and then, Richard, you saw someone on the tram.
Yeah, we got on the tram, and the gentleman on the tram, he saw us, made eye contact with Don, the security gentleman, and got back on the tram.
So we had a tram rider who was specifically tailing us.
It's like an undercover tram rider.
Yeah.
And I'm looking up at him, he's looking up at me, and if you're going to be a undercover security, don't wear such opulent jewelry. It just makes you stick right out. So he's looking at me, he's typing something into his phone, I'm looking at him, taking pictures, and we go around. When we get off, he gets off. When we stop, he stops.
Yeah.
And then I think he knew that we were on to him, so he went back, but always looking back at us.
Right.
And we lost him.
Anyway, so we put the recorder back in the car.
Right.
And we came back out, but we still had our backpack.
Yep.
Sans recorder. And so we walked back to the park, because we don't take the tram ever. We like to walk.
Yeah.
Except for that one time.
We got back, and who did we see? Secret Squirrel.
Yeah.
He's hiding behind the bushes.
Well, apparently, I didn't see him, but you saw him, and then we walked into the Grand Californian entrance because we were going to go the back way to avoid a lot of security. It's just faster that way.
So we go right into the entrance, and there's little Paul Blart looking at us, looking at him, giving them the just some, sir.
Yeah.
Do we move in? What do we do?
Yeah.
And then we had to go into the gate. It was like 10:55.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let anyone in until 11 o'clock through that one specific gate.
Right.
And so we had to stay in there because, heaven forbid, we should go in 5 minutes early.
Yeah, so of course he caught up to us.
Yeah, and he's just standing there. And I give him the backpack. Look, it's empty. Oh, no, they'll check it up front. Oh, okay, fine. But I want you to know that we're all good. We're all good now here. How are you?
We're all fine.
We go through this security, and he says very snidely, oh, it was a quick trip back from Long Beach. Dad told me to go back to Long Beach to drop off the stuff and come back.
Right.
So he's making this snide remark, and then he says, if you ditch the recorder, we'll find it. I said, nope, no, you won't.
What does that mean anyway?
So, because he said it earlier, if you hide it in a bush,
right,
we're gonna find it and throw it away. So somewhere between the escalators and the plaza to our
Right.
car, they lost track of us.
Oh, okay.
And I would think that he'd be sitting behind a bank of monitors watching us, watching every move we make.
Is he the undercover guy or the original guy?
This is the original guy, Don, let's say.
Right.
And so at that point, he didn't know what we had done. He said, I'll find it. No, you won't. I'll not let you break an entry and go into my car.
Yeah.
You won't find it. And he's following us, he's trailing us until he just...
It was just so weird because I've never felt like a criminal before until like he had, what, 3-4 security people like
Yeah, following
waiting
us. I
for
kind of
us?
felt important.
And it was very
Wait a minute,
weird.
maybe the reputation of being the outlaws does precede us. I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Yeah. So regardless, luckily, Anthony and Bekah and Dave had all been able to get in before us and wait in the standby line for Frozen because, they were only taking so many standbys, or they technically told the standby that, oh, you might not get in. And all the fast passes had been distributed by 9 a.m. that morning, so we were too late for that. Are we done with this part?
I think in that our story just trails off, and then we get in line, and Anthony's got a list of grievances.
Oh.
To preface his new segment on Mousepire Podcast.
His grievances are more general in nature.
So
I
Anthony,
always have a grievance.
What's up with you today? What happened with you? Tell us. Let it out.
Well,
Let
I
it
didn't
go.
really have anything happen today. I'm just really irritated by the whole thing that happened to you guys. It just really, really makes me upset that I don't know what would happen if I had been there with you guys, because I would have got loud.
Oh.
And I mean...
Well, that was the option, but it's like, we just want to get in.
I know. It just really irks me when people want to act like that. I mean, this is supposed to be somebody said before, it's supposed to be the happiest place on earth, but they're not acting very happy about it. Oh, you said that, right?
Yeah,
when we were in line.
It's outrageous. There's no excuse to treat a customer like that, for treating you like a criminal for doing something that is allowed. And even if it wasn't allowed, you don't treat a customer like that, like a shoplifter for trying to bring in a recording device when every phone has a recording device.
Right.
That's
Which, by the way, is what we're using.
Yeah, and we're at Knott's Berry Farm right now, Don, if you're listening. His name's not really Don, you figure it out.
You should post this picture on Facebook so people don't know what he looks like.
I already did.
If they knew that, we don't want people to have recording devices today because it's the first day of Frozen, then they should have posted it on the Disney Parks blog. They should have said, okay, it's the first weekend of Frozen, you guys don't bring this stuff, blah, blah, blah. They should have prepared people for that, because then you guys would have known already. You would have left the stuff at home.
And we wouldn't have wasted an hour going back to the parking structure and coming back and all that
They
jazz.
would have established a rule that you would have then broken instead of what you did do, which is nothing.
Exactly. It's just really irresponsible of them to make up a rule on the spot and have nothing at all to prove to you guys that you guys were actually doing something wrong.
Yeah. When we were here for the Disneyland 60th, we had our media badges, so we could pretty much bring what we wanted.
Yeah, but we've been here other times. We had the recorder
Right.
and microphones and
But what
cables.
I'm saying, I think they were a little more sensitive today.
Yeah.
Because there's media and then there's not media.
Yeah, but say ahead of time that you're going to be sensitive.
Right.
If I was in a cartoon, you'd have seen the smoke coming out of the ears, and my hat would have been like this.
But it was funny that he was trying to hide behind bushes, which is why, let's just call him a secret squirrel from here on in.
Right.
That's what he was trying to be.
Yeah. Well, all right.
All right, so
is that
after
out of our
all that,
system?
I think so. Dave, anything else to add there?
No, but I hope there's a second chapter to this story, because I really do hope we follow up with it and escalate this, because that's unacceptable. As an annual pass holder, I'm offended.
I do want to reach out and say, hey, this is our side of it. What's your comment, Disney? Let them respond. Right, exactly.
Right.
So, like we said in the beginning, we were here for the Frozen show that debuted today.
Yes. Now, we weren't here very early before 9 a.m. to get a fast pass.
Not that we didn't try.
Right. So you guys, at 10 a.m. pretty much, were you in line for the standby?
Well, not right at 10 a.m. It was actually, I think Dave was there, obviously there first.
Yes.
And then we joined him maybe, 10:15-ish? Because I think we parked right at 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to let you know, the first showing of Frozen was at 1 p.m. And so people were already in line that early, 3 hours before.
And we were constantly being warned, all you standby people may not have a chance to see any of the shows today. So just so you know, this might all be for nothing.
Isn't that awesome?
Wow.
Disney's just knocking it out of the park today.
Is this like a cold opening day for DCA?
I don't know. But, okay, so we were staying in line, and luckily, and like I thought, we easily got in to the show.
Right.
And we waited. I mean, it's, you're with friends, you're talking. It's not a big deal.
I didn't mind the wait.
Oh, no. Yeah, and luckily we had some shade, so that was good.
And luckily the one behind me was fanning her, and I was getting the residual fan.
Nice fan.
So
I think we waited in line longer when we went on Hyperspace Mountain opening day of Season of the Force than we did today.
Wow. Holy buckets.
Well, 'cause we were in line like an hour and a half, 40 minutes for... I'm talking about all of us, when we were all in line for Hyperspace Mountain opening day with everybody.
Right, and Hyperspace Mountain is a lot faster ride than an hour and 8-minute Frozen
Right,
show.
exactly.
Now the question I had asked everyone when we were waiting in line, would this line be as long for any show, or is this the Frozen fans out here?
And I said I think it's both. I think it's Frozen fans, because I saw several people dressed and like with the Frozen ears or something.
Right, but at this point, haven't we had enough of Frozen?
No, there's some people who have not.
Okay,
I know.
That's just my questioning.
Like, let's think of this. If this was the Tangled show,
right,
I would have been here at 8 a.m.
Right, but I think from what I'm hearing is that people are kind of just tired of Frozen. Let's let Frozen thaw for a while, then we can come back to it. So that's why I was wondering if this were Cinderella show or even Tangled, would the line be so big, or is it because Frozen is still this big that the line was mainly comprised of Frozen fans?
Well, I think no matter what, you're going to get a long line because it's a new thing.
Right.
It's a musical. Obviously Disneyland already set a Disney already set a precedent of having a great putting on a great musical with Aladdin, for 14 years.
Yeah.
That started in 2002, right?
Yes.
Aladdin? Okay.
So, I mean, they already set a precedent for having put on such a great show that Frozen or not, everybody knew it was going to be a great show. And then a lot of people had seen that video that got put out the other day that was promoting Frozen and showing all how the projections and everything was working. So I think that generated even more interest. People wanting to see the projections and making people a little bit more excited for the show that may not have been as excited.
Right.
Yeah, when Sarah told me about this show, I wasn't crazy about it being Frozen, but I having seen the Aladdin show, I knew that this was going to be filled with all new technology and new effects, and I couldn't wait to see it.
Yeah, I felt the same way,
Yeah, the Disney Parks blog has been updating us periodically on like the behind the scenes, like the music or the technology, or I just knew that this whole theater was being revamped for this show, like completely. Like it wasn't going to hold any other shows. The whole theater was being made for this, and when we finally got in, we were in the top balcony, middle. We got right in the middle, and that was a good place to be.
Let's get initial reactions from everyone.
Okay.
So let's pass it around.
Okay.
Okay. You go that way, I'll go this way.
Okay. So
Anthony, what was your initial reactions, or what was your overall reactions to the Frozen show?
My overall reactions was that it was really good. I mean, I had no preconceived notions because I'm going to get shot for this like I always do. I haven't seen the Frozen movie.
Oh, wow.
What's the matter with you?
It's on my Blu-ray shelf, but I just haven't gotten to watching it, which was a good thing because she said that it was actually good that I saw this first because she thought this was better. But so I had no preconceived notions other than the fact that I knew songs. I know who Olaf is. I knew that what's-his-face Hans was a bad guy.
Okay.
Ended up being a bad guy. I knew things like that, but I didn't know the story.
Oh.
So I came into it basically fresh, other than, I know what song's coming on right now.
Right.
Wow. So overall then, this is like your new experience. What did you think of the story? Did it affect you?
Well, I mean, I wasn't all shook up by it. I mean, I didn't get like any emotional reaction.
Okay.
But I mean, I did like it. It was actually really good. I don't know if I would rank it really high up there as far as Disney stories. I mean, it had to have some characters in it. I mean, I don't know if I'm as big of an Olaf fan as a lot of people are. Okay. I could think, I'd be more of a Sven guy myself, if anything, but I liked it. I mean, as far as getting to the show itself and the the projections were phenomenal.
Yeah.
The effects, especially when they have you moving, when they're on the sled and you're going, or when they're doing that zooming in thing or a zooming out thing. It was really amazing.
So the projection makes it feel like you yourself and the audience are moving.
Right, and you know that they're using multiple projections, and for them to have the timing down and the programming and everything so perfect that those projections look like they're moving so greatly.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one part with the little creatures. I felt like I was in an episode of Fraggle Rock.
Even in the movie, I felt like it was an episode of Fraggle Rock.
So, I mean, that was the first thing I thought of when that thing came, when the curtain went up and I saw those. I'm like, what is this, Fraggle Rock all of a sudden? But I mean, other than that,
So when you saw that, did you dance your cares away? Did you save your worries for another day?
You know, I tend to do that mentally all the time anyways.
Right.
I try, but...
And you let the music play down in Fraggle Rock?
Down in Fraggle Rock.
Down in Fraggle Rock.
Exactly. But wasn't taken out of it with the big head sticking up out of Sven like some of you guys were. That didn't really bother me much.
For those who didn't see it, explain what that means.
And Sven is one person controlling it.
Sven is the reindeer.
The reindeer.
It was one puppeteer.
Yes, rather than having the puppeteer's head coming into Sven's head, the puppeteer's head is coming out of Sven's back.
It just sticks out of the back.
It just kind of sticks out of the back, right behind Sven's head, and then his hind legs are just kind of dangling there, kind of moving as the puppeteer walks.
Right.
But
so it looked like Sven just had a fresh kill.
Right, or Sven maybe said some sort of mutant, or what's that creature from Total Recall that came out of the guy's belly?
Oh, that was Alien.
Yeah,
no,
that was Alien.
No,
that was Alien.
Total Recall.
That was John
that guy
Hurt.
has that extra person in his belly.
Oh, I think you're thinking about Buck Rogers and Tweaky and Dr. Thermopolis.
Or Krang from the Ninja Turtles.
The only thing I remember from Total Recall is that woman with 3 breasts.
All right, so finish up your initial thought there just so we can get a round table here.
That was pretty much it.
Okay.
I'm really interested to hear what she has to think since she is a theater person.
All right, Rebecca. So Wow was here with your theater knowledge.
Here, hold on to this for me.
I just wanted to make sure I got my Fraggle Rock joke in. That's all.
I didn't even think of Fraggle Rock, but now that you say it.
That had a memorable theme song, didn't it?
Fraggle Rock?
I wouldn't know, because nobody just got done singing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta hear that again. All right, Rebecca, what's your overall thoughts on Frozen the musical?
Well, my impression, first I have to say that I really, really don't like the movie Frozen, so what I have to say is going to have more of an impact when I say it about the musical. So, I really, really liked the musical. This was really good, and I gotta say the musical performances were really well done. They added in some little musical parts in there, I think, with the singing. I haven't seen Frozen in a while, but I'm pretty sure there was some added little small singing parts in between there with the ensemble, which was amazing.
There was.
And then there was the little orchestral parts in between when you were going to the different scenes. I liked the music that was playing. I don't know if that was actually in the Frozen movie, because once again, I didn't really pay that much attention.
It's probably stuff that's in the movie that you don't really notice because it's background music.
Yeah, it was just cool, because then I heard it as it was just playing as it went to a different scene, and I'm like, oh, that's really pretty. I like that.
Uh-oh. Here comes that...
Security?
No.
Is that Dawn? Is that Secret Squirrel?
No, that's Summer's here jamming on the back lot, I think.
Is that...
That's okay.
Alright, we'll go ahead.
What's happening?
That's okay.
Is Dawn coming?
You're okay.
But if you look behind that cactus, there he is, Secret Squirrel.
Oh, no.
He's holding up his hands like in the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
It's okay.
Okay,
right, so go ahead.
So Jeff,
there you go.
So I really enjoyed the puppets. Sven I thought was really cool, and I think they probably based that off of the Pumbaa puppet from the Lion King Broadway, because it's actually very similar, where his butt is hanging off the back of him like Sven was, and they have the person in the middle who controls him.
Nice.
All right, here goes Luigi passing by.
Do we want to pause?
No, don't pause. We'll just wait for a couple of seconds. Where our cars land, I gotta expect the traffic.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, so
Thanks.
talk about Olaf and his puppeteering.
Oh, yes. I thought Olaf was great. The actor was amazing.
Right.
Which, that's got to be a big plus because he's such a huge character and that's somebody that everybody recognizes now. So the fact that they were able to find an actor that can sound like the guy in the movie, and he also was really funny with the comical humor as the guy was in the movie. And there was a technical stop during our show and he started ad-libbing. And it was really, really funny.
I love the puppet that was Olaf. There was something about the height of Olaf standing in front of the puppeteer and where his carrot was. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's just.
I just
thought that was kind of inappropriate, but.
Dirty.
Rebecca said her piece now. Dave, what you got over here?
Well, that's hard to follow, Rich.
Well, do you want to talk about the technical snafus of the show?
Well, I felt like this would have been a really, really brilliant final rehearsal to watch.
I want to say real quick that seeing that I haven't seen the movie, I didn't know that was what was happening. I didn't know that he was starting to ad-lib because I just thought it was part of the show.
I thought it was awkward pauses.
I didn't know that he was supposed to be going into a song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know how In Summer starts.
Oh, yeah, no, he was saying the lines that start in summer. And then...
So I didn't know that.
Waited.
So it
Hold
didn't...
on, this is Dave's turn.
Okay.
Well, I know he's going to know that, which just really took me out of it because I was worried about Anthony's...
Nice.
But, the technical issues were like, once in a while things happen, but you don't expect technical issues on the opening premiere performance.
Yeah, we were at the premiere, public performance.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's probably right now in the back room crying, saying, oh, I worked so hard and now I've got to go to Knott's Berry Farm and get a job, So that was, just unexpected to have those. And there were a few of them.
There was two, I believe, right?
No, there's more.
Really?
There were several.
Oh, okay. Well, there was Olaf's song was the main thing. The music didn't stop and the actors actually went off stage.
What happened when the music cues didn't come up? And walk us through the technical difficulties of that particular scene.
Well, whenever there's a technical pause, you get this awkward pause where all the actors kind of look at each other and look at the audience and look at each other. And then somebody who probably wasn't from the original Frozen cast because they look like they are security from Disneyland walks out on stage and kind of ushers them off. And then this big voice says, due to technical difficulties, we will resume shortly. And then everybody stares at each other, and then people started chanting, "Bring back the genie!
Yeah,
bring back the genie!"
Yeah, that was uncalled for.
And then the Frozen fans in the audience were like, "Stop it!" So unfortunately, there was kind of a mini.
I thought it was rude.
Shoot down the confidence of the actors, saying "Bring back the genie."
Really?
All right, there's mistakes. It's gonna happen. Get over it.
I viewed it as the genie has magical powers. He could show up and fix it. Duh.
But the first half of the show went off without a hitch. I thought it was just the back half had a few glitches in it. But okay. Did you want to say what you thought of the whole thing, or?
Well, the things that I was most impressed with, I love stage magic. The theatrical effects that was stagecraft.
As a magician, tell us about what impressed you.
Yeah, well, there was a scene very early on where Elsa was using her magic to create what appeared to be a snowman just kind of floating there in the middle of the stage.
Yeah, and we were sitting at such a spot that it was right off of her hand, too.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So it's almost like a cartoon appearing in the middle of space.
Yeah.
And that was very unexpected, and that was like, wow.
And the whole theater gasped.
Yeah, that was cool. I really dug the scene where the wolves were chasing the sled, and you had the back projection. We had animated wolves, and you had real wolves, and then you had the whole scene moving to where you felt like the entire theater was moving through the space.
Yeah.
And where reality and imagery kind of intermingle. So that kind of stagecraft always impresses me.
Absolutely.
So those were the things that really stood out for me as the things that I was most impressed. And then when I saw the secret squirrel guy hiding on stage looking at us, I was like, well, who's that guy?
Yeah, he was one of the wolves.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but he kept on getting onto his little microphone and talking to somebody, his little radio.
And the other wolf said, why is there a squirrel with us? What's up with this? Yeah, that wolf scene was, I think, my favorite.
Okay.
Just because the puppeteers they had the whole running forward, hanging back, running forward, and not being able to catch up with the sleigh
and
again.
And the sleigh was
rocking,
tilting, rocking on its sled, and
I think the puppeteering of the whole production was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Maybe except for the placement of Olaf.
Right.
Other than that, I thought that was and maybe the puppeteer's head coming out of the back of Sven's neck.
Well, that didn't bother me so much because if you go rewatch the original movie, there was a little tiny head coming out of Sven's neck in the film.
Oh.
I'm making that up.
All right, so things that really stuck out to you.
Well, okay, I haven't shared my thoughts.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to say, like Bekah, I'm not, between the Tangled and Frozen camp, because there are those people, I love Tangled. Frozen is I was expecting to love Frozen. When I saw the movie, it was okay. And I saw it at El Capitan 3D, and I was excited. I thought I would have a really cool experience like I saw Tangled, and I didn't. So when I saw this, I actually kind of had that experience that I wanted to have. I was totally into it emotionally. When Elsa, so Elsa's transformation, that's what I was super impressed with. When they sang, of course she sang the whole Let It Go song, and she has her coronation gown on, and then this big thing of stairs comes out from the back, and it's like these ice stairs, and
it's
she goes
spinning
up
over
them.
the audience.
Yeah, she goes up them, and then it spins her over the audience, so she's super close to us. And then she took down her hair, and then there's this thing she pulled on the top of her dress.
Yeah, there was a costume change.
Yeah, the dress transformed in a second.
The cape. That was I wasn't expecting that.
Cool. That was amazing.
That was magically ripped from her body.
Yeah, just like it is in the movie. If you've seen the film, if you're very familiar with the film, that's exactly what happens, and it happened.
From her coronation dress to her Elsa dress, the lights flickered for half a second.
Yeah,
and in that half a second, there was the costume change.
Yeah. So all of her dress was up on her shoulder, the top half of her body, and she let something go, and it just bam, it dropped.
And that would have to include her. That would then have to include her little sheer cape too.
Yeah.
Would have had to been rolled up in there.
And what was funny is I was looking at her dress earlier. I was like, she doesn't look that big boned, but she looks kind of thick, stocky. And then that's why, because the whole dress contained her Elsa dress underneath, up on her shoulder, the back,
right,
and stuff. So that was amazing.
That was very cool. But remember in Superman from 1978 when the little baby Kal-El gets put into that big star-looking ice sculpture ship? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They had one of those hanging right in the middle of the stage.
The chandelier came
The chandelier,
down.
but looked like that thing that Superman got delivered to Earth.
Wow.
That was hanging right in my way, so I didn't really get the full effect of Elsa's costume change.
Yeah, the one problem with us sitting so high is the chandelier came down and actually blocked the tip of it blocked what Elsa was. Her
I
final
thought we were
song.
watching Phantom for a second.
I thought watching Superman.
Yeah,
Phantom / Superman.
Yeah.
Phantom Superman.
So next time I see it, I'm going to see it from the second,
lower,
the first balcony would be a good place to see that. Wow.
All right,
so
good
that
deal.
was my overall thoughts.
Okay.
So you said let's go
I thought
around.
it was. I'm going to forgive all the technical snafus. It happens.
It happens.
You move on. I thought it was a really good show. It really strung everything together. The effects were fantastic. Everyone was great. Of course, Olaf being the genie of the show, he was a standout. Really, really funny. The actor who puppeteered him almost looked like Carrot Top, but sounded like Josh Gad.
Yes, he did. Totally spot on.
The dancing was great. The singing was great. Everyone sounded fantastic. So I give this show 2 thumbs up and worth waiting for.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, Anthony, you found out it was how long?
1 hour and 8 minutes.
Wow, that's.
But does that include technical pauses?
No, I think we were there for 1:15 or something like that. Yeah. But,
or as they call it, intermission.
Yes. Where everyone starts chanting Jeannie.
So now, if we were all school teachers, what would we give this production? Dave?
I would give it a A-, B+, just because of the technical difficulties. At this point, it just needs to be ready to go.
Okay. All right. Rebecca?
I would give it an A, just to say, for the technical things, because I work in show crew at Waterworld and Universal. That stuff happens all the time, and Waterworld's been around for 20 plus years. So that stuff, you gotta expect that sort of thing to happen.
All right, so let's take all those off the table.
Yeah.
Let's say we come back in another year when the show is polished.
I'd still give it an A.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Because it was way better than the movie, which I probably wouldn't have given a letter grade. So.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'm sorry for those of you out there, but yeah.
Anthony, get off your phone and join the conversation here.
Wait, I just think something about the emotion of the actors, actually being there physically, like having that emotion. I think they did a good job getting that across to the audience.
Right.
I thought it was excellent. I came in with absolutely no expectations, just because I have no expectations of Frozen. I've just gotten really tired of seeing it everywhere. That it exceeded my expectations just because of the fact that it was such a good performance.
Representation.
Exactly. It was a good representation of something that I had no idea what it represented to begin with. But the show itself and the projections and everything were just so awesome, and it's a visually stunning show. If I had to put it into one sentence, it's a visually stunning show.
So that's your grade.
Oh, grade, right. Yes, I make my own grades because I am a rebel. I give it probably somewhere an A.
Okay.
Solid A, I guess.
All right. And I would say as well, an A, just because while the technical aspects were stunning, the vocal performances I thought could have used just a little more work. Like it was a bit screechy. I don't know. So that's just me being uber whatever. Otherwise, go in there, enjoy it. It's an awesome show. It's worth waiting like 3 hours for, which we did.
Okay. All right, good deal. I think I would give it an A+.
Okay.
Just because visually it's great. The story really moves along. The actors were really good. Anna was as good as she was in Once Upon a Time, representing Anna from the movie Frozen. So I thought all that around was great. And for those fans out there of Dancing with the Stars, and they know of the digital projections on the floors and the backgrounds, this really represented that.
Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal. And when the background is moving so fast, you feel like you're moving that fast. So I give it an A+.
Wow. And you know what, Richard? You didn't fall asleep.
No, that's there you go. Right there is an A+.
The other thing I liked about this better than Aladdin was Aladdin had that weird casting choice where they had a woman in a motor scooter. That always took me out of the Aladdin show because I'm pretty sure there weren't motor scooters in Aladdin's time. And I'm so glad they didn't say, we really need a motor scooter in Frozen. So that bumps their letter grade up.
Nice.
She was really proud of that rascal, wasn't she?
With the big flag.
The big flag. Now, to wrap it up, do we want to see another show dedicated to one property, or do we want to see more of a gamut of shows?
Like a Disney on Ice type thing,
exactly,
where they do a bunch of variety?
A variety, yeah, good example. For me, myself, I'd much rather see a big variety. Have one story incorporating all the princesses and characters.
For me, I like being immersed in one specific thing. So I like the Frozen.
I would have to agree with that, because for years I was really hoping that Mary Poppins was going to be what replaced Aladdin. For like 5 years, ever since they first started saying that something was going to replace Aladdin. Even back when they were talking about a Toy Story musical replacing Aladdin about 3 or 4 years ago, I said, you know what, because it was when they first started talking about the Mary Poppins musical. I said, well, you know what, they should really put a Mary Poppins musical in place of Aladdin, because then they have that to get it ready for Broadway. But unfortunately, that never happened. I'm just glad it wasn't Toy Story.
Dave, what are your thoughts on that?
I kind of like the whole immersive approach. I mean, they've already got Fantasia, where you kind of get a snippet of all the different princesses.
That's a good point.
And you can see Once Upon a Time, where you get to see them all intermingle and stuff. So, let's just bring a single property to life.
All right. Rebecca?
Single property, I think, is what I prefer as well. Because it's more of what's appropriate, I feel, for that theater even, because it's more like a Broadway experience, which is just one story being told about these particular characters. So.
But isn't it more timeless if you can interchange different princesses and characters, like Star Tours?
Mickey and the Magical Map did that show.
Right.
Over, and so they do have they had like the three princesses who were singing a song together, and then Tangled came out.
Right, yeah, see, that show is already pretty much doing what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or if they were to be able to bring another show, a completely separate show that's not in that theater, maybe if they wanted to have some sort of Disney on Ice show in the park, I think that would work for what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, we're obviously all for the single property, but we're all not against your idea either.
Right. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I am just because I'm a rebel.
Well, but if you think about it, the fireworks show has like 8 songs from 8 different movies. World of Color brings in
this theater
Star Wars.
Can just hold so much more technology and better
Right.
technology, and it's a better venue for the big hub show.
Okay.
That's why I would like to have an array of characters and story going through this.
If it was better arranged where they would be able to have a rotating type show or something like that,
yeah,
I think
that
that
would
would be a good idea. But because I think that the show it pretty much has to take over the whole entire theater,
right,
and has to be designed specifically for that, they can't do like a rotating show.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they could do a rotating show, then I would definitely agree with you that having an all-encompassing show in there along with the other shows would be a good idea. It's just not equipped for that.
Gotcha. Now, I wish I could cite my source on this, but who said that these characters are actors playing characters? Where when you go to a meet and greet with Anna and Elsa, though that is Anna and Elsa, but these characters here, they want to be known that it's actors playing characters, so little kids can't say, wait a minute, I just saw Anna and Elsa over there at the Art of Animation studio. How are they here so fast?
I forget who said that.
I forgot who said that, but wasn't it also in the context that there were originally, the rumors had it that the casting choices were creative for this show, which did not
was
bear
not.
out. Yeah,
No, they
not the
looked
case.
exactly like their characters. So, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. That's the first I've heard of that. I'd like to take credit. I would like Mousepire to take credit, but unfortunately we cannot.
All right. Well, speaking of Mousepire, tell people where they can get a hold of you and Mousepire.
You can get a hold of me on Twitter. I am Empire for Life. That is Empire_for_life. And you can also get a hold of us at Mousepire on Twitter. And you can links for the shows and for the podcast is on both of those Twitter pages.
And tell people what Mousepire is in brief.
Mousepire is basically Star Wars and Disney podcast where both universes collide. We just have a specific, as opposed to Skywalking, we do have a specific leaning towards Disneyland park news.
Yeah, and actually, you flesh it out very well, and you have a lot of inside sources, so
And
it's a good
some grievances
companion.
that tend to be general in nature.
Yes, I do have general grievances.
Coming soon to Mousepire. All right, everyone, thank you very much. Uh-oh, there's Secret Squirrel. Run!
Go, go, go!
Well, that'll wrap up episode 122 of Skywalking Through Neverland. Another long episode, but a very fun adventure through fandom. Now, we want to thank Mr. James Frawley, Jeannie Gallo from theprincesspapers.com, and Anthony Fox from Mousepire, Bekah Goodman, and Dave Skale for joining us this week. And now, depending on what happens in the world of Star Wars and Disney, most likely we'll be doing a classic Marvel Star Wars comics next week. So we will be looking at issue number 9. So that is your homework for next week.
Ooh.
Look at issue number 9.
Of that classic Marvel Star Wars comic series. That's hard to say. All right, well, for more great Star Wars and pop culture, head over to retrozap.com where you can find all kinds of shows like Brews and Blasters, our friends at Techno Retro Dads, the Game of Thrones podcasts, We Know Nothing, and also Blob of the Hutt. Now, Blob of the Hutt, they are going to be at Star Wars Celebration Europe and will be on the podcast stage, which is super exciting. So if you're heading there, please go support them.
And Talking Apes TV, where on our last show, our interview special, we talked to Adam O'Brien from the Jodcast Radio Network and our new good friend, Ken Mills from Zilch, a Monkees podcast.
Awesome.
A very, very entertaining guy and someone we really hooked up with in a great way because we're sharing podcasting secrets.
Yeah, and in fact, we're going to make a cameo on his shows.
Yeah, he's got 2 podcasts dedicated to music. Of course, Zilch, the Monkees podcast, which will be on next episode, and his Kiss podcast called Podkissed.
Nice.
For any of you who want to rock and roll all night and party every day, this is your podcast.
Yay. All right, and I want to announce, guess what? A new t-shirt design. It's available at TeePublic. Now, you may remember I created a special Star Wars Rebels Firebird Mickey ears design as a button, and there's only 200 of those in existence as buttons from Star Wars Celebration Anaheim. Well, that design is now available as a t-shirt, thanks to a suggestion from a Skywalker. So the link to that design can be found in our show notes, or you can head to the Support Us tab on skywalkingthrough-neverland.com.
Now, for those of you out there who are saying, wait a minute, what happened to BB-8 at the beach? Well, that's coming very shortly.
It's coming soon, yes. I'm still designing on that one. All right. Oh, and Skywalkers, remember the new giveaway from Seen Unseen Disneyland. You can get 2 autographed books, Seen Unseen Disneyland and more Seen Unseen Disneyland. Just head over to Facebook, our Facebook page, Skywalking Through Neverland, and share the pinned post of this episode 122. And it needs to reach 25 shares, and then I will be giving away those books.
Awesome set of books by Russell Flores, not the John Williams of podcast.
No, I was going to say I don't know many author names.
The Stephen King of Disney Find It books.
Yes, there you go. All right. I like that, on the fly.
Yes.
All right, social media. We are here. The conversation keeps going 24/7 each week because we are on social media. So find us at Skywalking Pod for Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, and Snapchat. And I want to say on Snapchat, some people like Joey Pittman and Bryce Yelverton has shared a little Snapchat with us of them like listening to our episode. It was so cool. Like Joey will post a video of him listening to the show, and he was going, oh, surprise face with the roll of the opening of our show going on. So that was pretty cool. That was awesome. So we want to thank you guys so much. You can also find us on Facebook, Skywalking Through Neverland, and of course you can email us, share@skywalkingthrough-neverland.com. Now, is there anything else we need to remind our Skywalkers this week?
Rob Dellinger, take it away.
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said.
This is what you can look forward to on episode 122.
I'm sorry.
What was that?
You know what? Read 122 and then pause.
Okay, I will.
That was unrehearsed.
All right. That's what happens.
I didn't write it in the notes.
Fine. All right.
Excuse me, I have an allergy and I'm coughing a little bit.
Oh, no worries. I understand allergies.
So you'll cut out the coughing, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So
I had to think about that.
I was around during the first syndication era of the Monkees.
Good for you.
And I've never looked back.
Oh, come on. That's not true.
You know, the Monkees have always been right there.
Yeah. He's very, once he finds something he likes, he like, that's his focus.
And when Sarah and I first started dating, we would give each other a mixed CD. And I said, if you want to know who I am, listen to this CD. And it was like 9 out of 10 songs were the Monkees.
I don't know. I don't know that I want to get into that. That brings up images that I shouldn't really get into. Anyway, I kind of thought that you two might be connected in more than one way.
Cue everyone on
things we
Periscope.
want to share.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Things we want to share.
Do-do-do-do-do. By the way, does anybody watch So You Think You Can Dance?
That's great, Richard. Thank you very much.